Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, June 12th. There's about 500 albums coming out this week. I got 14 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlists I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's about 500 albums coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 14 on the show though today, so if there's something I don't talk about, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section for them. So the first several releases this week are all ones I talked about in my summer new release video, which was late May, early June when I did that video. The first one was already partially released for Record Store Day this year. This is John Lennon Mind Games, released back in 1973. It was his fourth studio album. It's a 2 LP release. It's going to run you about $48 online. So this is the next release in the Ultimate Collection series they've been doing over the last, probably the last 2 years. They've been doing these. They previously released Plastic Ono Band and Imagine. I've got the copy of Imagine, so that what you're getting in this, it comes with an extra LP of a bunch of outtakes from the recording sessions. You know, I grabbed Imagine because I got a good deal on it. It was on sale. Had it not been for that, I already have a copy of it. So the outtake stuff, maybe just me, but I don't really listen to them a whole lot. I listened to it when I first buy the album. I probably listened to it maybe one more time since then, but it's kind of cool to listen to the process that John went through when recording these great albums. I'll wait and stream the extra material. I'm sure it's going to be available on streaming services this week when the album comes out. But if you're a big fan of John Lennon, big fan of the Beatles, might be a cool one to look at this week. Some of the bonus material on this release was released for Record Store Day earlier this year. So if you got that RSD release, you already got a standard version of this album. You're pretty much getting most of what's included in this one. So you got that one coming out this week, and then you got the reissue of For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge by Van Halen coming out. This was released back in 1991. It was their ninth studio album. So this is a 2 LP, 2 CD, and 1 Blu-ray expanded edition. It's going to run you about $100 online. So I guess the big difference between this release and what you got in that box set last year is this is a 2 LP release. It's spread out over 3 sides. From what I've been told, it's a far superior sounding version than the version that was in the box set last year, which is really disappointing. I really think this is the version that should have been in the box set. Even had they raised the price, 10 or 15 bucks, I think it would have been a better release than doing it this way. But this does come with some additional material in here. You got alternate mixes, there's outtakes, there's a concert from 91. You also get the concert on the Blu-ray also. You get some, I think there's also some videos on that Blu-ray. For $100, I'm probably not going to grab this unless I can get it on sale somewhere. Because like I said, I already have the version in that box set. But we'll see if I end up grabbing it or not. You also got the 30th anniversary edition of Voodoo Lounge by the Rolling Stones coming out this week. This came out back in 1994. It was their 20th studio album. 2 LP release. It's going to be on yellow and red vinyl. It's going to run you about $48 online. This is an album that, to be honest, I was pretty disappointed with when I first listened to it. I was like 14 or 15 years old when this album came out. I'd just gotten into the Rolling Stones within probably a year or so before that, but I primarily only listened to like their classic stuff from the 60s and 70s. So I was really comparing Voodoo Lounge to those earlier albums, and it just didn't compare. I think it's an album that's definitely grown on me since then. It's still not one of their better albums, I don't think, but you can hear a lot of the elements on that album that were on some of those classic albums. So it's one that, it's been a couple of years since I've listened to it, so I'll definitely go back through and listen to that again this week. I don't have it on vinyl, so if I can grab it on sale somewhere, I might grab a copy of that. And then you got the Donnas Spend the Night coming out or getting reissued. This was released back in 2002. It was their 5th studio album. It's going to be on hot pink vinyl. It's going to run you about $35 online. This was their major label debut. It was probably their most popular album, and one that I've been waiting a long time to get reissued. I didn't want to spend the 150 plus bucks to grab a copy of this, so I've been patiently waiting to get this for this to get reissued. Last time this got reissued, I think was like 2020 when this got reissued. and I completely missed it when it came out. It was a 2 LP release. It had some additional live material on there, and that was the version I wanted to grab on vinyl. But I was just told just recently the live material on there does not sound good. So instead of dropping the $100+ on that 2 LP version, I'm glad I've got this one on pre-order this week. Next album is one that I've had on pre-order since it was first announced. This is Crazy Town, The Gift of Game, released back in 1999. It was their debut studio album. It's going to run you about $33 online. There's 2 different versions of this. There's a Red Devil version, which is like a purplish color, and there's a yellow butterfly version. I decided to go with the yellow version. I thought it was a better looking version between the two. I know this is not a great album, but for nostalgia reasons, I decided to pre-order it. It's not it's not super expensive either. This is the first time it's ever been officially pressed on vinyl. I know there's been a bunch of bootlegs of this album over the years. I've almost bought it a couple of different times. Butterfly was the big track. It helped push this album up to, I think it was number 9 on the Billboard 200. There for like a 2-year time span, man, you couldn't get away from this song. It was absolutely everywhere. Unfortunately, Shifty Shellshock passed away just recently within the last month or so. Like I said, it's an album that I've definitely looking forward to getting and spinning this week. Actually, I already have my shipping notification for it, so I know people have already started receiving them also. So, like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to that one this week. And then you got the reissue of the self-titled debut album from Iron Maiden coming out this week, released back in 1980. It's going to run you about $24 online. This is the reissue of the 2015 remaster version of this album. So I guess this is confession time for me. I've never been a big fan of Bruce Dickinson's vocals. It's I've loved Iron Maiden musically. It's just the vocals, I just can't listen to them. They're almost unlistenable for me. But I've had multiple people tell me, hey, you got to check out the first two Iron Maiden albums. So it's one I'll add to my stream list to stream and check out this week. I might grab a copy of it. Like I said, musically, I've always loved them. It's just the vocals. For some reason, just something there just has always kind of bothered me. But so like I said, I'll stream it and check it out this week. There's a couple really interesting jazz releases coming out this week, and I'm not familiar with either one of these albums. The first one is Dizzy Gillespie, the Ebullient Mr. Gillespie, released back in 1959. It's going to run you about $30 online. This is all part of the Verb by Request series. It's all newly remastered stuff. It's all pressed to Third Man Records here in Detroit. They do a great job with this series. They're going back and they're pulling out stuff that's been out of print for decades and decades, remastering it, giving it all new life. I'm sure this is going to be a fantastic sounding album. Of course, I know who Dizzy Gillespie is. He's one of the greatest jazz trumpeters of all time. But he's got a great lineup on this album. He's got Junior Mance, Les Spawn, Sam Jones, Lex Humphreys. I'm sure this is going to be a great album. I'll definitely stream it and check it out this week. And then the second jazz album is the Oscar Peterson Trio, a jazz portrait of Frank Sinatra. Also released in '59. It's also going to run you about $30 online. I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan. This is a jazz tribute to Frank. This is pretty cool. I think this is going to be a really interesting album. I might not grab this one. I'm more likely going to grab that Dizzy Gillespie release. But he's joined by Ray Brown on bass, Ed Thigpen on drums. So it's another cool jazz release. I'll definitely stream it and check it out this week. So the next release is kind of a cool album because you're getting a live album this week and you're also getting a new docu-series on Paramount+. This is Melissa Etheridge, I'm Not Broken, live from Topeka Correctional Facility. It's going to run you about $33 online. It's a 2 LP release. It's going to be on maroon vinyl. So the docu-series kind of centers around, there's 5 letters female inmates of the correctional facility wrote to Melissa. She uses those letters as inspiration to craft a new song. So this live album, she went to the correctional facility, played a bunch of great songs from across her career, plus that new song. So that's what you're getting in the live album. But in the docuseries, I'm really interested in checking this new series out because I know Melissa had lost her son not too long ago, and she's kind of using all this to kind of go through the healing process. And it's, like I said, I'm really fascinated by all that, really interested in checking out the new docuseries this week. I'll stream the new album when it comes out this week also. So you got that coming out this week, and then you got the new album from Mr. Big coming out this week. This is 10. It's their 10th studio album. It's going to run you about $28 online. I know in 2018 the band said that they wanted to release one more album before they wrapped up their career. They're in the middle of their farewell tour now, which is called The Big Finish. They've been kind of recording this album off and on. They're recording some parts on their tour bus, other parts when they can get into a recording studio. I listened to the first single off this album. It's actually a pretty good single. I'm looking forward to checking out this one. I've never been a huge fan of Mr. Big. Of course, I like Lean Into It. It's the one big album from across their career, but I'll check out the new album when it comes out this week. There is one big music on vinyl release coming out this week. This is Motion City Soundtrack, My Dinosaur Life. This came out back in 2010. It was their fourth studio album. It's going to run you about $35 online. It's going to be on purple and red marble vinyl. If you're unfamiliar with Motion City Soundtrack, they're a rock band. Released, I think, 6 studio albums since the early part of the 2000s. This is probably their best known album, hit number 15 on the Billboard 200. I'm surprised that Music on Vinyl is already doing a limited version of this album. So this is going to be limited to 1,000 copies. This is the third time that they've done a limited release of this album. Both times previously were in 2019. They're both on colored vinyl. I think they're both limited to around 1,000 copies each. But, it's definitely a good album to check out if you're unfamiliar with the band. Definitely stream them and check them out. And then there's also Montell Jordan, This Is How We Do It, coming out this week. This was released back in 1995. It was his debut studio album. 2 LP release is going to run you about $33 online. This is a great mid-90s R&B album. Of course, This Is How We Do It was a huge track. Something for the Honeys was the other big track that was on this album. It did really well. It sold over 1 million copies in the U.S., hit number 12 on the Billboard 200. If you're a mid-90s or if you're a 90s R&B fan, it's definitely a cool one to check out. Like I said, this is definitely one. I haven't pre-ordered it, but I'll probably grab a copy of it this week. You also get the latest album from Ani DiFranco getting released on vinyl this week. This is unprecedented shit. This came out back in May. It's her 23rd studio album. It's going to be about $29 online. This is one of the very few times throughout her career that she's worked with an outside producer. Most of her stuff is always self-produced. She brought in BJ Burton to do this new album. I know BJ's worked with a bunch of great artists over the years, but I don't know if he's ever worked with somebody quite like Ani. This new album, I don't know what to really think of it. It doesn't really feel really cohesive. I know some of these songs she's been working on since as far back as like 2011, 2012. So maybe that's why it kind of feels more like a collection of songs rather than a full album. But, it's really interesting, like social and political themes on this album. It's kind of a cool one to go through and check out. So make sure you stream that one and check that one out this week. And then the last album I got on my list is the self-titled debut album from Christopher Cross. Came out back in 1979. It's celebrating the 45th anniversary this year. It's going to be about $28 online. I didn't realize this, but this is actually one of the very first albums that was recorded digitally. Of course, it's a yacht rock classic. I think Sailing was the big track off of this album. Hit number 6 on the Billboard 200. Sold over 5 million copies here in the U.S. I think it won 4 or 5 Grammy Awards that year. It was just a huge album. But the funny thing is about this album, it's the only Christopher Cross album I think I've ever listened to. I don't know why I've never listened to any other stuff from him, but it's one I haven't listened to in a long time. I'll definitely stream it and check it out this week. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up this week. I've got 2 albums for sure that I've got on pre-order. I got that Donnas album on pre-order. I got Crazy Town on pre-order. I might grab 1, maybe 2 of those jazz releases. Maybe I'll grab that Van Halen album. We'll see what I end up grabbing this week, but let me know what you guys are looking forward to this week. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.